What's up, everyone? Kaijin Okami here with
Cruellica Kain.
The Knight of Disappointment, Silver Quill.
and we are going to be talking about Ryusoulger. It's been a while since we've done one of these, episode 34, which was well before Christmas.
Humbug.
We just haven't done one in a while because we really didn't watch all the episodes since then until more recently, when we just crammed them all into a short time period.
Because we are lazy! And how do you know? That means I'm Naruto! Oh, wrong show. Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, this review is not presented by Zaya.
Okay.
That means we won't have 1,000 impacts.
So, yeah, the last time we did a video was after Nada's death, and what have we had really happened since then?
Nada!
We've had Time Fire come in as Master Black and give the whole series' entire plot in an exposition dump in episode 45.
We had the best meme of the show.
Oh, yes.
Bye-bye!
Yep, when Red cuts off Precious's hand, is like, bye-bye! All you want to do is hear, meep, meep.
And then we have the very hasty ending.
Well, one of my favorite episodes since our last video was actually the one where Weisel, brainwashed all of the Rangers, and you had, 3 different shows go on.
To do the play?
To do a play, and it was very outlandish, very extra, and it was just so much fun just to kind of see something that actually was good.
Very Weisel.
Mm-hmm.
Weisel is probably my favorite of the villains.
But he's the only villain that sort of had a personality.
Well, Creon they actually tried to develop more in these last.
But in the end, they did nothing with Creon.
Well, they did nothing with Weisel either.
Well, that actually one guy online, Professor Who, said he's like, the code Ryusoulger's name is also a waste of a year, and a few other people are like, yeah, or not Professor Who, it was one other guy, and it's like, yeah, they pretty much brought in all this top-notch anime voice actors to do the villains, and they did nothing with their voice talent for this entire show.
Well, they did nothing with the Rangers either. I don't truly think we had a defining episode for each of them where it really defined their characters. We know, basic elements of who the characters are, but nothing that really stands out and says that this character is impacted and driven to do this because of family means or something. We got basics of it, but nothing that really made me feel like, okay, I'm connected to these characters.
I can think of... Okay, I have one favorite set of episodes that I enjoyed, but I think there was one episode that did what you talked about. It was where a Minosaur had wrapped its tail around one of the Rangers' hearts, and she was going to die unless they mastered the Smashing Soul.
Oh, with Pink.
With Pink. And I think that was the one where they established...
Where Red had a pound Pink.
Yes, we did get a rather Freudian evening out of that. But that was also where we learned that Ko doesn't view them as rivals, and that he learned that kindness from watching Melto
when they were kids.
Okay, yeah, you got a point there.
So, okay. But there's anything, when we started this, talking about the show, I said from the intro, I wanted them to face the challenge to not be chivalrous, to not follow through on their duty. Duty, thank you. And funny enough, that was not really a thing until these last few episodes. So I kind of feel like there was a very large stretch where they were offering lip service to chivalry, but never got to challenge it until the very end, where they're offered these dreams. And even then they're like, well, no, you didn't let us be with our friends, so that's to you.
Well, how about the fact that also with Pink, when they had their dream sequence, Pink's entire dream was she just wants to eat food. That's her entire character, food.
It's a little sad. Oh, sorry.
No.
Well, it's funny that my favorite episodes were the pair where the dead were coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
Thanks to Darkness Raptor and Light Raptor, was it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I forgot they even existed.
They weren't used much. But Master Pink showed up and had a great role. She told her students, you weren't the best, but you never gave up. That's more characterization than I dream of eating. Although, I'm having Digimon flashbacks now because I realized that in the second season, one of the characters was tempted by a vision where she had a plate full of sweets all to herself, which sounds really shallow.
Kyrie?
Yoli. Until you realize that the whole reason she wanted the sweets is that she's a middle child of like 5, I think. And this was the one time she didn't have to share with anyone. That's deeper meaning, but that doesn't apply to Pink.
No, it doesn't. And when I compare other dinosaur-related Sentai, Zyuranger,
Abaranger.
Abaranger, those are the first two that really come to mind.
And then Kyoruger.
Well, the reason I don't want to compare Kyoruger to this is, for Kyoruger, their presentation of this was more real-world-esque, where they're looking for dinosaur bones. And that's how they got it. Whereas with Zyuranger, they came from that mystical village. And for Abaranger...
No, Zyuranger was... No, they were ancient... They were from...
Well, they were an ancient
Kingdom.
world. Yes.
Which all the evolution professors and archaeologists are like, that's baloney!
And then with Abaranger, Aberray Black, he was from
An alternate dimension.
alternate dimension where dinosaurs were prevalent. So you have two series where you have characters from alternate worlds of some sort. Isekai. Let's just put it the Isekai motif. And then you have this series that's also playing upon Isekai, which the disappointing thing there is that's a huge popular trope in Japan. They love that almost like alien in a foreign world type thing. And it's very popular, and Zyuranger did this in what, 91? 92. Then Abaranger did this in like 2000.
3.
Yeah, it was the early 2000s. So there was huge gaps between all three of these series. And I haven't seen all of Zyuranger, so I can't comment there. I've seen enough of it to say they did that Stranger in a Strange Land thing very well because they tried to connect the characters to their modern tropes. Abaranger, the one benefit is you had a character like Ui, and they were able to help Aberray Black and anyone else from that strange land, so to speak, connect to it where you felt like they were able to learn and participate. Here, it felt like kind of the argument that we had for 01. As much as we love the show, Naruto does seem to have a little bit more of an ease of time acclimating to a challenge. And it seemed like all of the Rangers here, all 6 of them essentially, even though 3 of them you knew were not part of the, never went to the other side of the veil, so to speak, until the beginning of the series. They all acclimated without effort. There was nothing to do a challenge. There was nothing to make it feel like they were really strangers in a strange land. They tried to play upon that occasionally, but they failed because they never set that tone consistently.
Well, yeah, like, because they knew what everything was in the modern world. Like, even Gingaman did that. Because Gingaman, they were from a separate forest world that was that was separated from the rest of the world. So the first time they see a TV, well, no, they did. When they saw a TV, they're like, oh yeah, they're like, oh, this is a TV. Oh yeah, we know what that is. We've been taught about that. So they did this stuff where they were still, they knew about it, but they mentioned they had learned about it.
But they never mentioned any of that, learning about it, or connecting with it. And did they actually ever really, truly do anything with the Wish Soul?
No, it's still out in space.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Although, funny enough, you both were talking about that, you both reminded me of Gargoyles when Hudson first discovered a TV.
Oh, wow.
It startled him and Bronx so that they fled out of the room.
But then, later episodes, they're mesmerized and connected with it.
He's an old man watching his stories. Grandpa needs his stories.
I always wanted to see him with like a walking stick, shaking at the television.
For me, For the Rangers, Nada was probably the best character for the little time we had of him.
I do have to say Nada, and it's always funny saying Nada.
He was the most fleshed out of them all.
He had a goal, he had flaws.
And you got to see his backstory in, what was it, 4 episodes?
Mm-hmm.
You literally got his damnation arc, so to speak, where he failed everything. You got him where he became this horrible villain. He wanted a redemption. He was redeemed. In 4 episodes, he went through the life cycle of man.
And then he became an upgrade kit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bitterness.
It was disappointing.
Then you have Ui, who she disappears for like 15 episodes.
And the show didn't change.
Then she comes back, says, I'm going to America, leaves, and then she comes back just for the finale. She's like, oh, I'm here visiting.
She could have been their connection to the outside world, especially with her quirkiness and her social media. I'm reminded of Kamen Rider Build, where it was social media that told everyone where the monsters were. That connectivity. That could have been employed here. But she left and nothing changed. She came back and nothing changed. And again, the one time she was a really compelling character for me was when her mom came back from the dead. It's like everything I could praise about this series was in those 2 episodes.
Oh yeah, it's dead accurate.
I mean, even, you're killing me here. But even the mechs, I can't really praise.
Well, it's like, the only thing I will praise for the mechs is that it was nice to actually see mechs that could maneuver. When they were combined, because the suit actor could actually maneuver around,
That's true.
but they didn't actually ever really combine together. It's like they forgot the other mechs existed for half the show.
Oh yes, when the super form, and it was just the 3-headed, really Ko's mechs. It was not quite Daigo levels of, I get all the upgrades and new stuff. But at the same time, really just slapping 3 heads on one mech, I kind of I don't want a huge mech where the suit actor's like,
Don't want a clusterfucko, but...
But I would like something that integrates. I guess Q Ranger was the closest, as it included all the orbs, or the globes.
Oh, yeah.
But it seemed like you could still move in the darn thing.
Well,
Even if it was mostly
Oh, and how about the Dino Knights? It turns out the whole reason they were put asleep was to keep Iris in check.
Well, okay. I will say I like that Tiramigo had a personality. Especially his funny enough, he was the rival to Blue instead of the Red Ranger.
yeah, I will say that. It kind of reminded me of, like, Abba Ranger, because Abba Ranger, the mechs could talk.
Yes.
Because that's what I liked about Abba Ray Killer's mech. Wasn't it the same voice actor too as Weisel? Yeah. Because
Just keeps coming up.
Hiro Yui.
Wow, okay. I want to rewatch Gundam Wing with Weisel's dialogue playing. Like the scene where he's threatening Relina. I will make the greatest showtime!
well, it's always funny every time he's like, that's Hiro Yui, yes, Hiro Yui, and I'm thinking Hiro Yui, and I'm like, that was a waste of his talents. Because Hiro Yui is just so...
Monotonous?
Yes!
Maybe it's even funnier, he's taking aim at Duo. Stop being cooler than me!
Oh, I know. He would have been a perfect duo.
But yeah, I did like at the end when Weisel's like, how do you make the Minosaurs? Like, thank you! If only they actually explain this in like episode 10?
It made me laugh when that question was asked, because every single audience member has been asking it since episode 1. Because, yes, knowing that Creon makes them is different than actually, because every other series, you get an idea of how it makes it. They either shoot a gun, they have pieces of tofu. Car Ranger, I really think they were high the entire time they wrote the series. But still,
You enjoying some magic beans already.
But
Yeah, there was nothing to really explain.
Well, actually, I feel like they contradicted themselves. See, in the first episode, they established that Minosaurs are made from negative human emotions.
Not necessarily.
Creon speeds the process, but they can still arise naturally. So when at the end they're saying that there'll be no more Droidons or Minosaurs, like, that's not true.
Well, the other thing I have to say is in episode 46, I think it is, when everyone gets knocked out.
47.
47. So everybody's asleep in 47. 48 is the final episode. They save the world. However, is anyone else awake?
Yeah, they never actually showed them freeing everyone else who was in the slumber.
Because usually you'll see like a random one or two people just kind of wake up alive, like, ah.
But yeah, because even like in the one scene when Toa leaves Bamba, when Toa's walking down the street, there's like nobody there, no cars or anything.
Well, we see that a lot in Sentai. I mean, how many times did Blade run through empty streets, and Tokyo was about 5 blocks in diameter?
Well, I think that's all of Tokusatsu. It's like the shortest turnaround. Well, since this is going to be our last video talking about Ryusoulger.
I don't know, we may come back and say, God, this is better than Ryusoulger. Or, worst case scenario, oh, I actually miss Ryusoulger. Why?
I don't know. Right now, Ryusoulger is top 3 of the worst Sentai shows ever made for me.
So let's go over the Ryusoulgers. We have Ko, Ryusoul Red. What's everybody's feeling of him?
I actually like him. Maybe because I'm coming off of Daigo, who was so good at everything and so powerful. Ko was much more mild-mannered and positive, not overbearing. So I liked him, although his fixation with Nada at the end, I can have Nada back. And I'm just like, dude, you're taking romance a little far there.
Well, I like Ko because he actually I have to say this about all of them, but him most specifically, I actually truly felt he was genuine. Like, even the actor who played him acted out the skill of being genuine.
I will say, except for Kanalo, the original core cast, they were pretty solid. It's just they had nothing to do the entire series. But I did like the Ranger cast.
Now, Melto...
My favorite.
Melto is actually one of my favorites as well. Like, of character. Like, of appearances, I have other favorites. But of actual character...
You can't like Bamba just because his shirt was off the last 2 episodes.
Well,
He was going full Shatner. Oh, you never go full Shatner.
But Melto, I enjoyed just because he was... He actually was the true brainy blue, which we don't have those very often. We'll have the rival blue, we'll have like the antagonistic blue, which is what we had for Black in this series. But we had a brainy blue, which usually goes to the yellow or green, depending on the series.
Since he's a brainy blue, that means the next Power Ranger series, since Ryusoulger's next, the Blue Ranger has to be Billy's kid.
That would be, but then he'd be part Aquitian. Actually, they had that in time. No, SPD. Okay, but 2 things about Melto. One, I did find it apropos that when Creon made a Minosaur from him, that thing reached giant size in like 5 seconds. Like, oh, Melto, you poor soul.
It kind of reminded me of like Ami. If Ami had a Minosaur, it would be astronomically large. Which is why it became perfect that she was a minor villain in the live action. But
Oh, Ami from Sailor Moon.
yeah.
I was thinking of another Sentai, you know. But then at the end where he's like, oh, maybe this will help me find Tiramigo and Kain Lance. Okay, Lance, other than their introduction where they were in conflict, they never had any dynamic afterwards.
No.
And with Tiramigo's like, dude, I think you've got some issues if you want to get back the guy who kept biting your leg.
Oh, yeah. There are many times I thought Tiramigo was going to kill me.
So for me, I have to say the worst part of the series, which this actually I thought summed up this entire series in a nutshell. Pink and Red are running towards Precious in that cave. You have all this dramatic music going on, drama happening, tension going up because things are getting intense because they can't transform. And then Seto walks in, turns into the ghost, the Ryusoulger Brown, and just starts fumbling around, and it's like all that tension just went.
You have completely taken us off course of what we were talking about.
Yeah, we were just about to talk about Pink, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're talking about the characters. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, too bad. I was talking about how this show every time had a
no, we
serious.
can actually just focus on Seto for a moment, and then go back to the main
Every
cast.
every time the show had a serious moment, they couldn't keep that serious moment going. They had to do something freaking
Well, it was typically
stupid.
Seto that came in.
I'm sorry, but there's only one Seto, and he's obsessed with Blue Eyes White Dragons.
I agree. He's
Okay.
he's a reincarnation of an Egyptian priest.
All right, moving on. Let's go with Asuna. Stay focused now, Kaiju.
Okay. As I guess I don't know.
I liked the conflict of her wanting to be friendly and sweet, but she has this devilishly strong power that just catches everyone off guard. You could have a lot of fun with that, or have her learn to control that power. But in the end, I think this is a critique that you shared of a blog on Twitter. Ultimately, she came down to just likes to eat.
Well, the one thing I do have to say is they kind of led you, the story kind of led you for a little bit thinking that there was going to be some sort of romance between Red and Pink. I was actually, well, they tried to throw in subtle hints because of their closeness. And yes.
You are really distracted today.
I know, my lords. I don't think you should be running this video any longer. But never.
Hi, welcome to Silver Quill no Kami. Here we go. Yes, I am now in charge. Yes, if I can keep this squat up for a little while.
Oh, just think of it as leg day.
Oh my. Well, actually, I'm about to think of it as gravity day. Oh, there it goes.
But Asuna, I was happy that she didn't end up like becoming the romantic interest of Ko. I actually think Ko has different pastures.
That's why he's thinking about Nada.
So moving on to Toa.
Toa was the weakest.
I kept on thinking of Link.
They did nothing with Toa.
Oh, if he had played an ocarina, that would have generated so
Oh
many-
my god, that would have been brilliant because he
Nope.
already looked like Link.
Nope. Wrong Link. He had the outfit for Skyward Sword Link. Or Twilight Princess Link. I mean.
Wow, I was not even.
Not Ocarina of Time.
I
Link.
wasn't linking that in my mind at all.
No, I was just thinking Link, Ocarina because it makes sense because you see it in a few different games.
I know, but that was Ocarina of Time. This was Twilight Princess.
Oh my god.
So he should have been turning into a wolf.
Well, he was the youngest of the group outside of
Elto?
Canolo's sister.
Okay. Oh, well.
But he was the youngest of the group. He seemed like, from what they tried to do throughout the series, he wanted to break out of his brother's shadow. Not because his brother was overbearing or anything like that, but just because he wanted to truly be different. And then his brother, well, substantively his brother, Kaiju made a really good point after we watched the final episode. We actually truly never saw them as children to say that they were brothers. So we're assuming they're brothers because...
They told us they're brothers.
Exactly.
They didn't show us.
But I know in Japan, their culture is much different than in the U.S.
At least he didn't keep saying, Aniki, Aniki.
But Bamba, every time I hear Bamba, yep, I'm like, I love that song.
He was my favorite of the Rangers. Especially, actually, no, thinking that the episode when the villains started to make them all dance, and he's just like...
Oh, yeah. Which apparently, from what I was looking up, this is one of his first acting jobs. Because prior to this, he was a model. Surprise, shocker. He has a statuesque figure for it.
He still did
He's
better
got
than
a
Mega.
pretty face.
He's still a better model turned actor than Megaforce Red. Bamba, you have a mission!
Well, I was very impressed because being a newer actor, which most of the Sentai cast
What are you looking at me like?
typically are newer
What
actors.
do you mean
and
by
actresses.
Megaforce Red?
Oh, did you not see this?
No.
I feel like if I show you the end of Power Rangers Megaforce, you will forget all about Ryusoulger and have a new focus for
I've
your
seen
rage.
the ending to Super Mega Force.
You would be a quantum singularity of hate.
Why? What happened at the end? I don't remember.
They took the ending of Ghost Sager and worked it into the final season of Super Mega Force,
Which is Gokaiger.
which is Gokaiger.
Right.
Well, Robo Knight was brainwashed, and Megaforce Red tries to be really dramatic and summons all his will to punch the evil out of Robo Knight. And it is widely mocked for he's a pretty face, but he's got to learn some more acting, including subtlety.
Well, to be fair, for all of Sentai, and American and Japanese adaptations, most of the cast, the younger characters, are brand new actors and actresses. Or this is maybe their first, second, less than 10th acting gig. But,
Which is why seeing Time Red come back and be so boss.
well,
Again, I'm just jumping ahead.
well, no, but it's quite true. You have those characters that have done it over and over and over again, and you can see how much they have improved throughout their careers. And then you watch the newer cast, and it's always impressive anytime you watch a Sentai series and you know that these are brand new actors and actresses, and they have innate skill. And Bamba was one of those few characters, similar to me. They can act themselves out of a box. And it was very nice to see the actors do it because they're not given a lot. They're given that direction. And yeah, it may have taken a lot of work from the directors or whatnot, but they have proven that to make these characters memorable. And Bamba, yes, he's a very pretty face. Never going to deny that. But he did a good job with what he had. And he stayed in character. The character was the same from the first time you see him all the way to the end that you see him. He grew as a character, but he was fairly the same. He was a dick from start to finish.
Although, interesting word choice for him. But I will say, I know for a fact you were not looking at Pekba's face during those last few episodes.
I watched the episodes because I had to deal with Asana's whining. But
Let's move to Kanalo.
Kanalo is probably my least favorite of all of them because he was so one-dimensional.
Well, okay, something Bamba and Kanalo share in common is that their greatest conflict with the group was resolved in the span of an episode. Bamba, he was the most vocal of just cutting down the Minosaur's host and ending the threat right away. Take one life to save a million. And truth be told, I don't think he struggled with that for nearly as much.
No.
There was never an episode where it seemed like they might lose and it was maybe the only option that he could see. That would have been an interesting conflict. And to show that maybe he's not so comfortable or casual about it as he once thought he was. With Kanalo, there's this conflict of history that these land tribe are the warmongers and he can't work with them. That got resolved very quickly, just as Mosa Rex got over his grudge rather quickly and his fear of this super form, which never came to fruition. They never accidentally blew up an island or something. They never lost control of that mech's power.
So, okay, Kanalo, here's how I pretty much Kanalo works. You're playing Mortal Kombat Online. You get a Scorpion player. All he does is the spear, get over here, move, the entire time, over and over, spamming it. That was Kanalo. That's all Kanalo was.
Actually, I never got over this weapon. Still looks like a turkey carver.
But, and then the other thing I hated though is how much of like whiny bitches him and Oto became in the last few episodes. Like, no, I can't have you go out to fight because you might lose. Like, shouldn't this have been something that was done 25 episodes ago?
That's a little cruel. I care so much about you and Melto. The rest of the Rangers like, we're your friends too, aren't we?
So now we'll kind of go through these, just because I don't think everyone wants to stay here all night listening to us. Master Red, Master Pink, and Master Blue. The reason I'm lumping them all together is one, they all appear...
Sailor Moon, Tuxedo Mask, and Matoki.
Yes.
What about Master Black as well?
Well, first those three, because we got the least amount of time with those three. We got a little bit more with Master Pink.
Because of the dead
Of
episode.
the dead, of the, yeah.
I see dead people.
My favorite
The
episodes.
Day of the Dead episode.
The Sixth Sense episode.
I'm just going to go with Day of the Dead. but
Coco.
Nevertheless,
I'm a Ryusoulger. Da, 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 da.
they really didn't do much, but all I can say is I actually wanted them to play the Rangers. Not that the Rangers were bad, but I just think if you had 3 more experienced Rangers and then newbies, it would have been a kind of a different dynamic.
Well, I am surprised they did not resurrect them at the end like I thought they were going to.
The way the series ended, I kind of feel like there's a movie that's going to actually end the series.
Well, the wish soul will make its return. I would have liked to have seen more of them teaching because the Ryusoulgers, kind of like Ginga Man,
Mm-hmm.
they were young. I would have appreciated if they were thrust into this unprepared. But it seemed like we started the series with their training complete.
Mm-hmm.
And there were, don't get me wrong, there were flashes as Ko remembered Master Red's kindness as well as his strength. But there really wasn't a lot of dynamic or learning. And I feel like the Masters were taken out too quickly.
They were. I kind of feel like the way they were taken out in the first episode. Was it the first episode?
Yeah.
It was so abrupt, and at first it was almost like too quick to actually believe to be true. You kind of thought, oh, okay, no, they're fine, they're
Well,
fine.
it's just like what happened with Maji Mother and Maji Ranger. She gets taken out in the first episode and like 40 episodes in, oh yeah, it turns out that she was only captured.
Well, and if something like that happened, then I think it would have felt a little bit more authentic. And then we have Master Green, which I don't remember.
He was
there for like,
an episode.
it was said episodes 30 and 32, but I'm thinking he was like quick clips, so I really don't remember him. But we do have Ryusoul Black, or Master Black.
He was the best. He was the best.
He was the one who got the most development, not only as a character, but also because he was a villain. Just like Nada in a
Well,
way.
the thing is, he only had like 4 episodes and he had more development than the characters that were in there for 40 episodes.
Well, we said the same thing for Nada.
But he also gave rise to some of the best. Ko was never that sneaky or clever, but thanks to Master Black, he had a real moment to shine, and the funniest moment in the series for us.
Well, yes, because it was the Roadrunner episode.
The other thing also, the one thing I don't like also is with Wiseau. He did not deserve redemption when there were several episodes where he was trying to get people to commit suicide.
Or to reach the depths of despair. Same with Creon.
Mm-hmm.
Like Creon, you could kind of see, okay, I'm doing this because I'm a battered housewife. I'm doing what I'm told because that's what my husband tells me to do.
PTSD type thing.
But for Wiseau, he did not deserve redemption. Same with Precious. She did not deserve redemption either.
No. The way it was hastily done. I mean, and I still don't get how he came back, but we'll save that for the villains.
Yes. So with the villains,
Oh, there we are.
yeah, because really outside of that we have Ui and her father. There's really not much to talk about because the father's the foil for Seto.
And a very cheap attempt at comedic relief.
He really is. And then Ui, we kind of referenced her before.
She did not. She had no purpose.
The villain, so Creon, kind of starting with him, he really is that child villain, which we get in a lot of different series. Usually we actually get it in the guise of a child. This time we're actually having it where it's childlike. I think one of my favorite things for him was when he created that YouTube video, that dance craze that became so popular, and even Ui is trying to learn it because it was ridiculous.
And then he deleted it because it wasn't good enough, but he's determined to keep doing it.
And then you have, so you have the leader, Eris. She was a ball.
Yep, having a ball. I don't know. It claims to be the spirit, the Earth's
Well,
will is
that's
its
a good
will.
point. I say she. I really don't know.
It was just a she because it took Precious's body.
Oh, that makes sense.
Or maybe.
But
Well, then again, but no, that's right, because they did call Eris the mother of the Druidons.
Mm.
But But a mother is not technically, in this day and age, anymore a term for a female moniker.
Well, all I know is that Eris pulled a Unicron. If you had stayed as a ball, you would have been invulnerable. But you had to transform to prove a point.
Yes. Then we had our first major villain in the beginning of the series, Tank Joe.
It was there.
Pretty much.
He was Joji
I
Nakata.
did like the fact that when he returned during the Day of the Dead episode,
Best episode.
he also got his like little redemption of connecting with Creon. Because Creon was so excited to see him.
Yeah, how many points do I get for coming back?
And then you had Ryusoulger, which I do like his kind of introduction-esque episode, was the episode where Melto was at the school because he had a crush on the teacher. Or no, he was at the school because Tiramigo kept on going to the school, and then they all got locked in that classroom.
Because they broke the rules.
They broke the rules, and then that's how Ryusoulger, because Ryusoulger broke the rules, got thrown in there, and he didn't want to be himself, so he took the guise of a kid, and he's complaining in his inner monologue about the Rangers.
Oh.
But I did like that episode because they had all these rules, and Creon and the Monster of the Week created a rule because they were frustrated with Ryusoulger to get Ryusoulger to break it.
But Ryusoulger, he was horribly cruel. In fact, I remember Asuna becoming just like super pissed at him in one episode.
Yeah, that was one of the ones when he was trying to get the one guy to commit suicide.
So yeah, he never lamented his action. He just was like, I'm nice now.
They just suddenly turned him into a comedy character.
Well, probably because they kept introducing these more serious. His flamboyancy did lend himself towards maybe if he were more of an entertainer or making the biggest show, but then he realizes you can't have a show if you kill your audience.
Well, the only other thing I did like was when the one dude got you, whatever his
Well,
name.
he's the next one we're going to be talking about.
When
Gachi Reyes.
When he comes back, and why is on like Creon like, you're alive? Oh yeah, I did a strategic retreat. Oh, so you fled the battle? No, it was a strategic retreat. So you fled.
Retreat.
Well, and he's literally the next one, and that was the funny thing about him. I honestly cannot say I remember anything else about him other than the fact that he did strategic retreats all the damn time until he died.
Well, when he was first introduced and he was this no-nonsense, and for a minute there I did feel bad for Creon as he was the most abusive of the generals.
Well, he's the one that smashed Creon that one time.
Multiple times, but I'm thinking of when fill out these vats with your goo, which sounds highly appropriate, and basically work Creon to actual exhaustion. But then that was the end of it. He wasn't even that strong an enemy by the end.
No, he was absolutely worthless.
So another villain we had, which I don't really remember all that much about, is Undend.
He only lasted an episode.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He was there for an episode.
He was the the alternate version, the red version of
Sodden.
Yes.
Because the next one we have is Sodden, who the original version of Sodden before Master Black defeated him.
Yeah, I will say that he was a rather sudden appearance.
Apparently, from the way it was explained, at least during the episode, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is when Master Black defeated him, he took the guys to infiltrate, and he had to act exactly like him, but apparently Precious either figured out it wasn't him, or just took
his
the heart anyways.
I think more of the latter.
And then Precious, when she first came up, I was super excited because, well, we really hadn't had a female villain. And being that she was almost like the pseudo leader at the time, I figured, okay, she has that androgynous voice, the very arrogant and strong actions, that she's going to be a great villain. And she became very repetitious, not precious at all.
She didn't do any. Romeo Park was wasted on that role. Unlike what she had with Dayu in Shikinger, she got nothing in this one.
So these are all the characters that we have that are notable.
Well, there's one.
Nada.
We already talked about Nada.
There's one notable thing we didn't touch on.
Huh.
Sodden. Did Master Black take his armor, or did he skin him and wear the pelt? I'm so goth.
I'm gonna just go with that he took the armor, because if we go with the fact that he's like a Leatherface type person,
That's way more fun.
that's a little dark for a children's television show.
Maybe he threw Sodden down a hole and said it puts the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again.
Oh my god, now I'm gonna be thinking that Master Black is the Japanese incarnation of Sentai Leatherface.
Oh.
You're welcome. I just made this series more interesting.
On that
Yeah,
note,
unfortunately it didn't exist.
final thought.
You know, talking about all this, this is a series that had a lot of good ideas present. A lot of things that you could explore over the show, not just in a few concentrated episodes. The biggest frustration is that it didn't follow through on them. And so there's really not... All I can say is, you know, there was a lot of potential, but not a lot of realization.
I have to agree with that. For this particular series, it's actually a Panic at a Disco song, I had a lot of high hopes. I had a lot of kind of like the setup and the character designs and the presentation, like this can work. I have a feeling this can truly work. And I think I'm guilty of every episode, because it was actually my fault, all of YouTube mine and Silver Quill's, that we kept on watching it. Because between the two of us, we're like, yeah, we'll go through it, we'll continue. It'll get better.
Usually it takes a lot for me to want to stop watching a story. I will want to at least see how it ends before I get the final.
But sometimes when it takes a year and it's been only 2 months, you're like, no! I actually dropped ship like episode 2. I was so over this series and it never improved for me. But yeah, there were a lot of good ideas. For me though, it's, like I said earlier, it's one of the worst Sentai shows out there.
What's the worst?
Q Ranger.
Ooh.
Right now I'd say my ranking is Q Ranger, probably Go Onger, then Ryusoulger, or maybe Ryusoulger, then Go Onger. I'm not sure yet.
We have to, again, you know, I'm kind of tempted to record a reaction if we show you the Megaforce clip I was talking about.
I'm good.
No, I actually want to do this.
Yes,
So,
I want.
That's pretty much it for
Leave a
Ryusoulger.
comment if you want to see this.
Yes!
Support him on Patreon, and you can make your if you have an episode request.
Well, all 3 people who have actually watched the end of this video might respond to that.
Okay, you 3 people, I'm counting on you.
Well, next week,
Alright.
or the week after, it's...
Anime Fest.
Well, no, I was thinking Kira Major.
Kira Major's tomorrow.
Well, we probably won't be watching until next week.
Well, we'll be watching it tomorrow, but we won't do a reaction video to next week.
And Anime Fest is, I believe, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yes.
2 weeks!
Alright, so that's
Deuces.
all for Ryusoulger. Signing off. Bye.
Bye.